My autofocus wasn't set correctly during this video. I didn't notice until I'd done it. No one's more annoyed about it than me. Let's move on. Hi, I'm MJ, and this is MJ Does Movies. So this week, we're reviewing Ghostbusters. This film has been controversial, to say the least. Ever since the trailers landed, people have been, I want to say split. I think mad is more the right word to use. I've spent the last few months really trying to make sense of why people are angry, why I was kind of angry. When I saw the trailers for this film, I genuinely thought, there is nothing here for me. I don't even know if I can go and see this. I've been a huge Ghostbusters fan since I saw the first film when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I love the cartoon, the movies. I'm one of the very few people who thinks that Ghostbusters 2 is a great companion piece to Ghostbusters 1. I think they're both fantastic movies together. I find it very difficult to separate the two into one's good and one's bad. I really think that they're both very, very good films, and two of my favourite films of all time. So when they announced that Ghostbusters was going to be rebooted, that was a bit of a shock to a lot of us as fans, because for years we've waited for Ghostbusters 3. We were promised it year after year after year after year after year, and that's all we really wanted, and it just never came. And then it felt like the second Harold Ramis died, the corporate shills came out and went, now we can do this our way, the money-hungry way. Then casting flavour of the month actors like Melissa McCarthy, just like, that was a big mistake in terms of production and not understanding a fan base. Ghostbusters. Let's talk about it. The film opens up pretty much just like the original, and we meet Kristen Wiig's character, and she is about to get tenure at her university. It comes out that she wrote a book with Melissa McCarthy's character years before, basically explaining the existence of ghosts, and she wants to bury this book, but of course Melissa McCarthy doesn't want to. Through this book, this guy finds her and says, we've got a ghost in our hotel, can you come and get rid of it? She has zero interest in this, but Melissa McCarthy hears about this when she confronts her about the book, and they go off to this hotel. Obviously the university hears about this and fired. It kind of just brushes over quickly and kind of says, oh well, why don't we set up a paranormal investigation? Okay, yeah, let's do that. They start to realise that ghosts are appearing around the city. They keep finding these weird machines, and it turns out that someone is using like a ghost amplifier to bring these ghosts out from the other realm into the city, and we discover that that's the bad guy's plot, so they have to go and stop this guy. That's the story of the film. It kind of follows a similar plot to the original. A lot of deviation in terms of, like, the firehouse is replaced by a Chinese restaurant, but they do rectify that later on. So the question is, really, is it any good? To be completely honest, I thought it looked awful. I'd kind of resigned myself to the fact that I probably wasn't going to go and see it. I had zero interest in watching this incarnation of Ghostbusters. What I really didn't want to do is say, this is okay. This is okay to take Bridesmaids or whatever the popular comedy is around at the minute, put like a Ghostbusters wrapper on it and go, there's Ghostbusters. I didn't think that was okay, and that's what the trailers felt like. And this is the problem. The trailers are absolutely not representative of what this film is, for the most part. That humour's still in there, but the worst part is that humour in the actual context of the film kind of works. I mean, it's not brilliant, you know, it's still kind of done for like, you know, rather than genuine laughs. In the context of the film, it's not as bad as the trailers make it. It almost feels like they've gone out of their way to make this film look bad, and I just don't see the sense in that. It's crazy. Like the bit where they're squashed into the Marshmallow Man that everyone's seen in the trailers, where she's like, oh hell no! That is not half as bad in the movie as it looks in the trailers. The next thing is like the awful CGI in the trailers. There's been no improvement on it in the film, but it just, in the context of the film, it works, it looks good. And actually there's a lot of practical effects with CGI added to them, but there's clearly like stuntmen running around fighting with them, and then they've added like the apparition gas, or, you know, afterwards and stuff. But there's clearly some practical effects going on in here as well, and I can't understand why they've marketed it the way they have. It just seems like madness to have done this. The next problem is that the cast. When I first saw the film Ghostbusters, before I ever saw the cartoon or anything like that, seeing Ghostbusters, and I wanted action figures of Peter Venkman and Egon and Ray and Winston and Rick Moranis. I don't know why. And Janine, I wanted action figures of all those characters. Like, the cartoon came out and then here were Ghostbusters action figures, and I was like, oh my god. As a kid, I was like, this is amazing. Like, when I came out of Star Wars, I was like, oh, I really want like a Kylo Ren action figure, one of those weird circle face guards. I like action figures, obviously. The problem with this film is that I came out, like, at no point did I go, I want action figures of any of these characters. Kristen Wiig plays the same character she plays in Bridesmaids, and she has zero character arc. She starts as like, oh please, oh no, at the beginning of the film, and she fucking ends out the film on that. I mean, like, she has some heroic moments, but then when they're over, she just reverts back to her character. Melissa McCarthy just plays Melissa McCarthy in everything. Patty, whatever she's called, they recruit her from a train station thing after she sees a ghost. Well, she just turns up and goes, I'm joining the Ghostbusters. Forget setting women back in cinema, because this film doesn't really do that. But holy crap, stereotyping black women in cinema, it hits the nail on the head. Every scene she's like, I'm an independent black woman who don't need no man. The whole film. Again, it felt like they went out of their way to make it like that. Couldn't she have just been like all the other characters and kind of been like, I'm just kind of nothing? The only character who had any character was Kate McKinnon, and they took it the complete other way. Like, she was supposed to be the comedy relief. She's just so fucking annoying for the whole film. Are you fucking serious? This is the most interesting character, and she's fucking so annoying. I've struggled to look at her. Everything about her pissed me off. But she had a really cool scene at the end, but it just wasn't enough. I felt like by the end of it, I want to say I'd warmed to them, but that would be an overstatement. I'd accepted these characters by the end of it. The whole film feels like it's embarrassed by the Ghostbusters name. Like, the whole film, they kind of tried to legitimize why they're going to call themselves the Ghostbusters. Every scene for the first half, trying to build up the legitimacy of calling themselves that. But overall, it's a pretty fun film. It's not the best film ever made. It's not the best Ghostbusters film ever made. It's the third best Ghostbusters film ever made. But it's not a fucking train wreck. It's not Trainwreck. It's not irredeemable. There's some really great stuff in it. I had a really good time. This is the 5th video I've done in 5 weeks, and this is the first time that I've come out of the cinema and kind of gone, that was really good. I really enjoyed it. I did. And I thought I was going to hate it. And let me tell you something. Sony ain't paying me to say this. Sony ain't fucking paying me to say this at all. I'm filming this on a £300 camera with a £1 lav mic in my fucking living room with 33 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Sony's not paying me to say this. The film's pretty good. I think we just kind of have to accept that, really. What's the point in being dishonest about it? It's pretty good. Chris Hemsworth's really good. Really good. He's very funny. Although the film is a little bit sexist about men. You know, how hot is Chris Hemsworth? He's so sexy. Like, I'm all sweaty from just looking at him. In every single scene he's in. We've seen it in the numerous clips. But they shoot the monster in the balls. And there's a few other moments where they kind of go, oh, weird little creepy men sitting in the internet typing in the middle of the night. And the bad guy, he kind of looks a little bit like Janusz from Ghostbusters 2. It's like the buzzing of flies to him. Where he's like a little kind of curly-haired nerd. I quite like the character. He's trying to get into like a rock concert and he's like, yeah, rock on, dude. And it was just a funny moment. The supporting cast are great. There's not a lot going on with the main cast, and that kind of brings the film down from being great to just kind of being pretty good. There's a big long credit sequence. If you like the effects in the film, they fucking show you every single one of them throughout the credits to the end, but stick around after the credits because literally this might be the best after credits stinger that I've ever seen. A huge smile appeared on my face. That hasn't happened since Howard the Duck at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. I felt myself start grinning. It was completely on impulse. The gadgets in it are really cool, like the double pistols and it's a shame that they're being wielded by kind of boring characters. Except Kate McKinnon, at that point I thought, oh, she's quite cool now. But again, she's really annoying the rest of the time. So, although I wouldn't be buying action figures of any of these characters, some of those fucking proton packs, I might be having me some of them. So that was my review of Ghostbusters Answer the Call? Because that's what they call it at the end of the movie. It was pretty good. If you like Ghostbusters, go and see this. Because it was pretty good. Sorry. So, if you like this video, please like and subscribe below, and let me know what you think in the comments, and let's talk about Ghostbusters. If you want to watch some more videos, then please click on one of the links. When you're walking down the street and you see a little ghost, what you gonna do about Ghostbusters?